Welcome to this Spokane Housing Market update. It's October 2023. In this video, I'm going to bring you the facts you need to know about the housing market, both nationally and locally here, without any of the nonsense fluff. My name is Phil Wells. I'm a Spokane real estate agent that likes to keep up to date with the market, and I want you to be as informed as possible too. In this video, we're going to start by getting a national picture of what's been happening. We're going to look at national pending home sales, mortgage rates, mortgage application rates, and median home prices, before comparing and contrasting what's been happening nationally to what's been happening locally. We'll then look at some news articles that have stood out to me this month before trying to piece it all together at the end and figuring out if we can make sense of the market as we see it right now in October 2023. Quick plug before I get started, go and follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. That's where I'm most active throughout the month. Let's get into the video. Looking first at national pending home sales. Contract signings were down significantly, 7.1% on a month-over-month basis in August. Year-over-year contract signings declined 18.7%, which represents 27 consecutive months of year-over-year sales declines. I really hope that year-over-year figure begins to reduce and turn positive in the near term. People forget how big the housing sector is and what a large proportion of the overall economy it is. Health in the housing market is essential to an overall healthy economy. Here's what the National Association of Realtors chief economist had to say about August's pending home sales. Mortgage rates have been rising above 7% since August, which has diminished the pool of home buyers. Would-be home buyers are taking a pause or readjusting their expectations about the location and type of home to better fit their budgets. He also added, it's clear that increased housing inventory and better interest rates are essential to revive the housing market. I'd say all of that is common sense, yes, but it's good to hear it from someone that the Fed might actually listen to. Inventory is also something that we can't just overlook. We can't just dial back interest rates and expect pending home sales to pick back up. We need homes to sell as well. So we have to encourage people to build homes, yes, but we also need people to feel comfortable selling their existing homes too. Let's move on now and look at mortgage rates. Obviously, the majority of people buy homes with the aid of a mortgage, so this gives us a really important insight into buyer demand. Sticking with August for a second, so we can really analyze that period in time. Mortgage rates at the start of August were at 7.1%, and by the end of August, they were at 7.06%. There was, however, nearly a 0.5% upswing in the month of August before rates settled back down towards the end of the month there. Since then, rates have climbed rapidly towards the 8% mark, peaking at 7.81% before coming back down to where they are today at 7.62%. As long as rates continue to be this high, it's going to continue to weigh on buyer demand. I would offer this insight though. People are still buying homes, and those that are buying homes are picking up concessions along the way to do things like reduce their interest rate. They're also securing major repairs on properties, for example, roofs and sewers. Sticking with mortgages for a second and looking at mortgage application rates. This is exactly what it sounds like. I just want to know how many people are actually applying for mortgages. Throughout the month of August, we saw mortgage applications decrease every single week while mortgage rates rose. When they eventually came back down towards the end of August, we did see an increase in applications, as you'd expect to see there. So this tells me that there are buyers lurking behind these high rates. It's not like the desire to buy a home has gone away, but the ability to buy homes has gone away for a lot of folks. I honestly don't think the housing market can stomach much more of these high interest rates. Bringing us up to date, as rates shot up towards 8%, the predictable decline in mortgage applications followed. Applications dropped a whopping 6% in the last week of September. When overall application rates are already extremely low, a 6% drop in application rates is pretty huge. One thing that I've noticed acting contrary to how the regular market should operate is home prices. They are proving to be extremely sticky and are not going anywhere. The most recent national home prices reported at $420,000, which is actually up 2.9% on a year-over-year basis. To me, that's absolutely remarkable. Everything is pointing to prices falling, but they're just not. It goes to show real estate is a remarkably resilient investment. So let's summarize the national market and what I'm seeing in terms of supply and demand. 27 consecutive months of year-over-year sales declines suggest one thing. significantly hampered buyer demand, or really low inventory, or a combination of both of those things, which in my opinion is what's happening. Mortgage rates continue to climb, and as they head towards 8%, the only people that are going to be in the market are higher income folks who are going to experience a serious disparity between what they think they could buy and what they can actually buy. Those kinds of buyers, in my opinion, are just going to opt to rent instead, causing even more downturn in home sales. On top of this, home prices aren't going anywhere. So those people with higher interest rates can't just offset the interest that they're going to be paying with a lower home price. They're really priced out of the market right now. So if you're a buyer in this market, you may find yourself having to bring extra cash to the table to make those monthly payments work. But if you qualify for a mortgage, likelihood is you can buy a home in this market. If you're targeting those homes that have been on market a little while, you will find it pretty easy to connect with a contract. Weirdly enough though, because of low inventory, you may find yourself competing for a home even with 8% rates. If you're a seller, you might find yourself in the situation where your perfectly presented home has been on the market for quite a while and you're wondering what you've been doing wrong. Honestly, you're not doing anything wrong, and likelihood is your agent isn't doing anything wrong either. The only thing I would suggest is constantly be revisiting pricing. I know I just said prices are sticking and they're remaining pretty high, but that doesn't mean you listed at the right price. Now let's look at the Spokane market itself and see how it compares to what's been going on nationally. Sales were down 22.1% year over year, which is worse than the national year over year decrease of 18.7%. So maybe a few questions there as to why Spokane is performing worse than the rest of the nation. It is worth noting that for the most part, Spokane has been tracking the rest of the nation in terms of sales for a long time. So unless we see some major divergence happening, there's nothing worth reporting here. This is just a more severe blip. Maybe next month we'll have a less severe blip. Median home prices are down 0.2% on a year-over-year basis to $409,000. Remember what I was saying before about stubborn prices? That's certainly true of Spokane. Even in the face of massive rate hikes, these prices aren't going anywhere. Median home prices are also right in line with where the rest of the nation is, so for those that are saying Spokane is overpriced, statistically it's not overpriced. Inventory is up to a 2.3 month supply. That is up slightly from last month, but it's still very low. 4 to 6 months worth of supply is where we want to be for it to be in a truly balanced market. I have personally never experienced a balanced market here in Spokane, and I don't see that happening for a very long time. There are a lot of builders building homes around the area, so I'm hopeful that that situation will improve, but like I said, we're a long way off a balanced market here in Spokane. New listings are down 2.4% on a year-over-year basis, which is really not a surprise in the face of such a challenging market for sellers right now. You can see days on market of 14 days. That's not a huge amount of time and may reassure some sellers, but it really doesn't reflect the number of homes that never sell and just expire and go off the market. I can tell you that's happening in a large numbers. This means overall then that Spokane is tracking the rest of the nation pretty closely, and you can expect any sort of news that impacts the rest of the nation to trickle down and impact Spokane in a very similar way. Now I wanted to touch on a few news articles that have stood out to me this month. As always, there's a lot going on, so we're only going to cover a couple of articles. If you're interested in reading them in their entirety, the link to these articles will be in the description to my video. I really wanted to highlight this article from Realtor.com because it reinforces what I've been saying with regards to several different points. Firstly, interest rates are the highest in a generation. So while yes, it's true interest rates were higher in the 1980s, we've had 40 years of an economy built on lower rates. So now we're approaching 8% rates. I think it's fair to say the effects are just as significant as they were back then. This article also touches on the low inventory phenomenon and prices remaining high. A combination of high mortgage rates and elevated home prices continue to push home ownership out of the realm of possibility for many would-be buyers. We have significantly stifled buyer demand, and we also have low inventory. It's as if both sides of the market, supply and demand, have glue on their feet and are unable to move to a natural bounce position. The next article discusses a preference for a lot of would-be buyers to just rent for the time being and see out these high interest rates. Referring to declining home sales and also rising home prices, this person is quoted as saying, "These challenges may tip the already tilted scales for potential first-time buyers, further towards renting. Rising home buying costs and falling rents have already tipped the monthly rent versus buy trade-off in favor of renting in the overwhelming majority of the 50 largest metropolitan areas. I would say I have spoken to quite a few people who have been saying the same thing right now. I'm working with one seller in particular who's going to liquidate quite a lot of equity from a home sale, but just plans on renting on the other side. For him, he just doesn't want to pick up an 8% interest rate, and that makes perfect sense right now. This brings me on to something I've been thinking about for a while. I think ultimately people need to recognize that there's no good or bad time to buy or sell. Ultimately, you just need to live your life the way you want to lead it. There are smart and there are dumb ways to do things in any particular market, and it's up to you and your agent to navigate that and come up with a plan that works for you. Now let's try and summarize the market as we see it right now in October 2023. The big news is that nationally, mortgage rates continue to climb towards the 8% mark. That's having a negative effect on home sales as they're down pretty substantially this month. Despite all this pressure on the market though, home prices actually are rising. In terms of Spokane specifically, sales are down and we continue to have low inventory. Days on market are beginning to creep up, and despite all this, home prices are holding steady here in Spokane. That's it for this video. I hope you gained from this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. That really does help me out. If you are looking at buying or selling in the Spokane area, please feel free to reach out. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, and I'd be honored to work with you. Until the next video, my name is Phil Wells, and thank you for watching.